Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Draft Room. This is the NFL Draft Podcast of the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in and get your thoughts out there or whatever it is you feel like you need to do, please feel free to do so. 608-561-3243. Just have to call in, leave a message, nothing weird. I'm not going to pick up or anything like that, you know. All right, so the plan for today, I mentioned this before, but we went through, did the top, 9-ish, 10-ish, whatever, position by position. That got us a lot of the way through covering a lot of different prospects. What it did not do is finish out the top 100. It actually got us relatively close. What I did earlier today is I went back and looked at all the different prospects that we've talked about. More importantly, all the prospects we have not talked about in the top 100. And it turns out, pending one or two I may have missed, is that there's about 20 left that we have not covered. And so at a rate of, 10-ish per day, that'll put us at 2 days to get through the top 100 prospects in the upcoming NFL draft. So I think that's what we're going to plan on doing today and tomorrow. We'll cover them. It's mostly wide receivers and corners because there are a ton of them. We did go outside of the top 100, so we've actually done more than the 80 or whatever. Because some of the positions you had to go out to almost 200 just to get enough to talk about, like quarterback and whatnot. There's just not a lot of them. But that will be the plan, and it's not even going to be necessarily position by position. We're going to go from 99 down. So 99 is the furthest back that we have not talked about. 44 is the best prospect, according to the board, that we have not talked about. Before we get into that, though, I want to shout out NFLDraftGrades.com. If you wouldn't mind checking it out, it is the site that I have been building for quite some time. Still a work in progress, but go get you, make your own big board, do a mock draft, group mock draft, whatever it is that you feel like doing. And if you wouldn't mind giving me some feedback on that, let me know how I can make it better, make it the best site that is available. That would be awesome. What else? We did our first group mock draft in the Facebook group. Let me pull that up here real quick just so I can kind of shout that out if you're not already in the group. The group is called NFL Mock Draft. NFL Draft Fanatics has 30,500 members so far. So it's a big site, continues to grow. It's a great resource if you want to jump in there and post a mock draft so people can tell you you're stupid. It's a great thing. But we did our first group mock draft. It's kind of hard to coordinate them because on one hand, you want to give people time to see the post of, hey, we're going to do this. On the other hand, the bigger the gap between, yes, I'm willing to join, and actually starting it, the more likely it is that somebody's going to move on and then not see whatever. So what I'm going to try to do is 7 o'clock Central Time every day, p.m., we're going to run a group mock draft. What I mean by group mock draft is it's a mock draft, and you pick one team, you select for that team. So unlike most mock drafts where you pick for either your team or for all the teams or whatever, you got a group of, let's say, 29, 30, whatever it is. 29, I think, teams that pick in the first round. Maybe not even 28, I don't know. And they get to go through and make their picks. So if you'd like to be a part of that, I'll be sharing a link to that in the Facebook group as well as over on X. Just be ready for it because I'm going to shoot it out, probably 10 minutes before 7. We'll start maybe 5 minutes after 7. So, but again, if you miss it, I'll plan on doing it again the next day, potentially even multiple times per day because why not? It takes like 10 minutes for people to rip through their picks and everything, so the more, the better. But all right, let's get started. Our first prospect is Julian Neal, cornerback out of Arkansas. There's been a good amount of talk about him among Packer fans. I've noticed recently it's becoming kind of a popular thing. How long that lasts, I don't know, but I know Pons was the guy for a minute, and there's a couple of them floating around out there, but this is definitely a name I'm starting to hear more and more. Along with Malik Muhammad, I'm hearing less about, but again, Muhammad may actually be a pretty solid schematic fit, but more on that in a little bit. So, Julian Neal, listed here at 6'2", 208, is definitely a story of growth. You're kind of betting on that growth. Started off in San Francisco, California, was just a 3-star player, ended up going to Fresno State. By the way, the microphone is acting stupid today, so I'm sorry if it starts making weird noises or whatever. I don't know what the deal is. But originally a 3-star recruit, went to Fresno State, didn't start very much. Year 2 in 2023, still didn't play very much, 116 snaps. And his first year was actually 2021. He had a redshirt year. So 2021, 2022, he plays 11 snaps. Through 2023, he's at like 130 snaps in 3 years. But in that 2023 season, he had kind of a breakout game. Starter Carlton Johnson went down in the first snap. Neal stepped in, delivered 6 tackles, and holding New Mexico State to a single 8-yard completion on his side of the field for the rest of the game. That launched his 2024 breakout. That was when he first got an opportunity to play. PFF gave him a 70 grade in 2024, 78 run defense, 67 coverage grade, which is pretty solid. 55 passer rating when targeted, just 277 yards given up, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, 4 pass breakups. Well, it's kind of cool how that happens. So if that guy doesn't get hurt in 2023, who knows what happens, if anything. That one game happens, 2024, they make him a starter. He plays so well in Fresno State as a starter that he starts getting Power 4 programs to pay attention. He enters the transfer portal. Stanford gives him an opportunity, and he decides, I want to go there. He's an accounting major. Stanford is obviously very highly prestigious as far as academics go. But head coach Troy Taylor was fired March 2025 for verbally abusing multiple female staffers. As a result, he re-entered the portal and was ranked the number 73 overall transfer. He ended up landing at Arkansas April 2025, citing family ties and reconnecting with former Fresno State teammate Raylan Sharp. As a result of this being kind of late with the Stanford thing and everything, he missed all of spring practice, still ends up starting right away, and was quite dominant. Had an 80 PFF grade, 86 run defense, 84 tackling, 83 pass rush, and 77 coverage. Across the board, he was dominant. He had 2 interceptions, 10 passes defensed. He had a 5-game stretch with at least 1 pass breakup and was the lone bright spot in an Arkansas secondary that struggled mightily in a season that saw head coach Sam Pittman fired and Bobby Petrino take over as the interim. At the Senior Bowl weigh-in, Neal measured 6'1.5", 202, 33 1/8 inch arms, which is 94th percentile for a cornerback historically. Again, very intelligent guy. He earned his degree in business administration with an emphasis in accounting at Fresno State, was multi-time academic All-Mountain West selection. Also a really powerful athlete, power cleans 315, benches 315, squats 500, has a 38.5-inch vert. He's been clocked at 21 miles per hour, according to Arkansas strength coach Ben Souders. He is a boundary guy. He's got the 6'1", 202 and long arms. Obviously, elite run to support and tackling. The physicality is fantastic. Does not have, or is not expected to have at least, any kind of elite long speed. Not much of a press corner. So, the profile kind of comes together. It's actually similar to what we talked about with Malik Muhammad a little bit, where you're looking at more of a zone corner that you can kind of put in space, and he can trigger downhill and make those important tackles. His realistic range sits from late round 2 if he tests well at the combine, through round 3, which is his most likely landing spot. His floor is round 4 if the athletic testing is poor. If he can run in the low 4.5s and test as an explosive athlete, his training numbers suggest, he could vault into the late second round. If he tests closer to 4.6, he'll settle in the third round range, where most evaluators currently have him. He fits best with a zone-heavy defense that rotates its corners and values physicality and run support. Teams that run predominantly quarters or cover 3 scheme, again, Packers probably looking in that direction. Any team looking at pure press man, probably not that dude. Very durable, no real injury history. Pro comps, TJ Tampa or Trey Herndon, and no real red flags. Next up at 98 overall is cornerback Treydan Stooks out of Arizona. Now, right out of the gate, it should be noted he's listed at corner, arguably safety. He's kind of one of those nickel safety types. So I'll refer to him as a corner, but just keep that in mind. He is or was a 0-star recruit. So this is entirely hard work, homegrown talent here. Originally from Litchfield Park, Arizona. He is a little bit older. He is a 6-year redshirt senior who's played 52 career games at Arizona. Don't know his exact age, but you can kind of figure it out. You know what I mean? More than likely, we're talking 25-ish, maybe 24. Don't know. But he's played almost 1,500 coverage snaps. He's given up 1,300 yards, 8 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 21 pass breakups, and a 77.4 passer rating when targeted. His first time playing snaps in football was 2020. He was able to earn a scholarship before the 2021 season after impressing Jed Fish's new coaching staff with his athleticism and work ethic, became a 2-time team captain. In 2023, Stooks was a key contributor in Arizona's 10-3 team that upset number 12 Oklahoma 38-24 in the Alamo Bowl, finishing the year with 55 tackles, 1 pick, 9 pass breakups, earning honorable mention All Pac-12 honors. 2024 season was cut short after just 4 games when he tore his ACL, old and has injury issues. In Arizona's upset over number 10 Utah on September 28th, allowing him to medically redshirt. Stooks came back 2025 with a vengeance after missing the first 2 games while completing his ACL rehab. He played 10 games, posted 52 tackles, 4 interceptions, tied for second in the Big 12, 6 passes defensed, 1 sack. He earned AP third-team All-American honors, first Arizona defensive player to receive all AP All-American recognition since Scooby Wright III in 2014. Along with Sporting News second-team All-American, first-team All-Big 12, and AP second-team All-Big 12. His PFF overall grade, well, we'll get to the PFF grades in a second here. In fact, let's just do that now. So, again, 6 years. Didn't really play much in 2020, but in 2021 is when he started. His overall grades went from 63, 51, 76, 69, and 90. So, obviously, 2023 was kind of that breakout year as far as his overall grade, as well as his coverage grade, pretty much everything. His coverage grades were 59, 52 in those first 2 years. 2023, it's 76, then 67, then 90. Remember, 2024 was his injury year, so it seems like a step back, but probably not. It's just an abbreviated year. So if you just look at 23 to 25, it's a 76 to a 90, coverage grade 76 to a 90. In both of those years, 23 and 25, the 2 years he was able to start, 0 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 9 pass breakups. In 2025, his final year, when he had 90 grades across the board, doesn't look like well, obviously he was still coming back from ACL. I don't know if he missed any other time, but he had a 90 grade, 73 run defense, 74 tackling, 84 pass rush, 90 coverage, 213 yards given up, 0 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 6 pass breakups, 34.4 passer rating when targeted. Now, he is a lot older, so the breakout came very, very late. He's got injury issues, which is going to concern a lot of people, but obviously one of the more talented guys in the class, at least based on what happened in 2025. He's a track guy. Before scouts knew Stooks as a football player, he was known as one of Arizona's best high school jumpers. He won a state championship in the triple jump and was a state finalist in the long jump, led a ring all 4 years in track and field at Millennium. That explosive lower body athleticism translates directly to the football field. His click and close ability, his leaping interceptions, and his ability to recover with long strides when beaten all trace back to his track background. His coaches at Arizona believe he can run in the low 4.4s in the 40-yard dash, and his combine testing could be a stock-boosting event. Former Arizona defensive coordinator Dwayne Aquina, who has coached legends like Chris McAllister, Earl Thomas, Michael Huff, and Aaron Ross, publicly called Stooks as good of a player as I've had and the best kept secret in college football. Fellow defensive back Dalton Johnson echoed it, saying, "I don't think too many people know about Treydan Stooks, but they'll wake up this season." Stooks' father, Ray Stooks, played college football at Pacific University and later competed in arena football. The football gene runs deep, and Treydan grew up around the game. His full name is Treydan Ray Stooks, named after his father. He maintained a weighted GPA of 4.0 throughout high school, making the honor roll all 4 years, demonstrating the same discipline off the field that has defined his walk-on to All-American journey on it. Another guy, again, projected rounds 3 to 4. Another more zone-heavy guy, utilizes a big nickel defender in sub-packages. Think cover 3, cover 1 teams that want a physical slot defender who can rotate to safety. Teams like Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, Minnesota, or the New York Giants who need secondary help and value versatility makes the most sense. He's not an ideal fit for heavy press man defenses. Injury history, 2024, so it was just basically the ACL. 2025 was missed time due to the recovery. No other significant stuff. Obviously, that's significant enough, but nothing else outside of that. Primary comp, and this is obviously going to get a lot of people excited, although, again, with a grain of salt, 2 main comps here, Minkah Fitzpatrick and Budda Baker. Stylistically, it makes sense. It even says budget version. Before anyone objects, this is explicitly a style comp, not a talent tier comp. Fitzpatrick entered the NFL as a versatile defensive back who could play slot corner, free safety, and strong safety, a chess piece who found the best role as a deep half safety nickel hybrid. Stooks' profile similarly, a big defensive back who processes zone concepts at a high level, has ball-hawking instincts, and projects best in a role where he can read the quarterback's eyes and trigger downhill rather than lock up in man coverage. As for character issues, there are none. All right, let's take a break here, and we'll rip through the next, hopefully 8 prospects. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Just want to remind everybody, everything that we're going over, all the prospects we've talked about with the exception of a couple earlier on, but I'll get to that. All of these are going to have fully filled out scouting reports on the big board. So if you want, head over to NFLDraftGrades.com. You can find my big board. If you subscribe to it, you'll have access to all of this stuff. I'm also going to go in sooner than later and start adding the height and weight and everything from all the official ones that we have so far prior to the combine. All right, next up, we have Malachi Lawrence, edge rusher out of UCF. Malachi Lawrence at 97 overall, currently on the consensus board. 4 years at UCF. PFF has him at 6'4", 250. He came from DuPont Manual High School in Louisville, Kentucky, which is a prestigious academic school known more for its journalism, math, science, and visual arts programs than producing NFL talent. He was listed as a 10th best prospect in Kentucky, was a 3-star recruit, 109th ranked defensive lineman nationally. He committed to UCF in December 2020, has never looked back, spending all 5 years in Orlando without transferring. He took his first snaps in 2022, and that was just 30 snaps. 23 through 25 was when he actually played. His PFF grade from there, 71, 70, and 80. And then his pass rush grades were 73, 73, and 90. So, and his sacks have always been relatively high considering how little actual pass rushing has happened. 8 sacks, 5 sacks, and 7 sacks. Given that he only rushed the passer 228 times in 2025, 7 sacks is a lot. 17.5% pressure rate and 7 sacks on the season. He kind of put himself a little bit more on the map at the Shrine Bowl, one of the week's standout performers, named to the West All-Practice team after flashing impressive bursts off the edge and winning consistently on one-on-one drills. John Blair of NFL Draft Notebook noted Lawrence's strong burst in one-on-ones, and multiple outlets flagged him as a player whose stock was climbing in real time. His combine invite followed naturally, giving him another stage to build on the momentum heading into April. Most likely range is rounds 3 and 4. If you're doing absolute ceiling and absolute floor, late round 2 to early round 5. Almost nothing by way of injuries. There was an undisclosed injury that limited him during spring practice in 2025. He returned fully for fall camp, played through the entire regular season, blah, blah, blah. Very, very minor stuff. Primary comp, Charles Harris, former first-round pick out of Missouri, shares a striking similarity profile to Lawrence. Both are 6'4" pass rushers who rely on first-step quickness, hand activity, and deep pass rush arsenal rather than dominant power or elite bend. At 93 overall, Chandler Rivers, cornerback out of Duke. 3-star prospect out of Beaumont United High School at Beaumont, Texas. PFF absolutely goes gaga over this guy. Listed at 5'10", 185 on PFF. 5'10", 185 here as well. So a little bit undersized for sure, but let's just jump into it real quick. 4 years, he started all 4 years at Duke. His overall grades, 66, 78, 91, and 79. His coverage grades, 65, 77, 90, and 81. Even his run defense has been solid. You got 69, 70, 77, and 71. His tackling, 75, 69, 76, 69. His pass rush, 70s, 60s, and a 91 in 2024 with 31 attempts, so not a small sample size. I mean, he's never graded poorly in anything ever. His lowest grade in any one category would be his coverage grade in 2022 is a 65.1, which is above average. 4-year starter, one of the most accomplished defensive backs in Duke history. 223 tackles, 16 tackles for a loss, 1.5 sacks, 7 interceptions, 3 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, 29 pass breakups, 7 quarterback pressures, and a blocked kick across 39 games and 32 starts. He ranks 8th on Duke's all-time pass breakup chart and helped lead the program to a record 35 wins across 4 seasons, 4 bowl appearances, 3 bowl victories, and a school-first outright ACC championship since 1962. 2024 All-American by 4 outlets, a 2-time All-ACC selection, a 2023 Birmingham Bowl MVP, and the recipient of the 2025 All-State AFCA Good Works Team honor. He was an 8-time preseason All-American entering his senior year and appeared on watch lists for the Bronco Nagurski Trophy, Chuck Bednarik Award, Jim Thorpe Award, Lott Impact Trophy, and Werfel Trophy. His 2024 PF grades were elite. We covered that already. He is a 2024 academic All-ACC selection and graduate from Duke in December 2025 with a degree in cultural anthropology. He played basketball back in high school, but he didn't just play basketball at Beaumont United. He was a contributor on a state championship team. The Timberwolves won the 2021 Texas 5A state championship in basketball. Rivers has talked about how that championship run taught him the intensity and focus required to win at the highest level. He explicitly brought that mentality to Duke's football program. He was also a track and field standout, finishing 2nd in the state in the long jump, which speaks directly to explosiveness and closing burst. Talked about how he was the 2025 All-State AFCA Good Works Team, one of just 22 student athletes nationwide selected for outstanding community leadership. His off-field resume is genuinely impressive. He hosts a free youth football camp in Beaumont every summer, volunteers in food and shelter outreach programs, participates in faith-based service initiatives, and advocates for children's health causes. He's a 3-time ACC Academic Honor Roll member and a 2024 Academic All-ACC selection. The only real debate about him is going to be his size, 5'9" 3/8" per Senior Bowl measurement and 185 pounds, so he's not even 5'10". That sucks. But no real injury issues. Appeared in 39 of Duke's games across 4 seasons, started 32 of them. Pro comp Garrett Williams. Williams, 5'10", 3-star cornerback from Syracuse, drafted by the Cardinals in the 3rd round of the 2023 draft. Undersized, technically proficient corner with outstanding ball skills, physical tackling, competitive streak that belied his stature. Both came from the ACC, blah, blah, blah. It's a good comp. Next up, wide receiver Skyler Bell at 91 overall on the consensus board. Listed at 6 foot, 185 pounds. Also spent some time at Wisconsin, 3 years there before transferring to UConn. That was when his first breakout happened. At Wisconsin, his receiving grades were 65, 58, and 56, so went down for 3 straight years. Goes to UConn, 49 receptions, 856 yards, 5 touchdowns, 73 receiving grades. For reference, that may have been more yards than all 3 years at Wisconsin. Then his second year at UConn really breaks out, 102 receptions, 72% reception rate, which is the highest he's ever had, most receptions he's had, 1,282 yards, which is the most he's had, 12.6 yards per reception, 13 touchdowns, which is more than double. He had 11 coming into that season, 82 grade, 85 receiving grade, 87 drop grade, which is kind of interesting. It's good. It's 3.8%, just 4 drops. He's been really bad with drops, though. The year prior was 14%. Before that was 15.6%. Before that was 14.3%. His career drop rate is 9.8%. So that would be something to keep an eye on, I would think. But he is originally from the Bronx. He's a 3-star recruit. He got offers from Iowa, Rutgers, Virginia Tech, West Virginia, Georgia Tech, among others. He chose Wisconsin and headed to the Big Ten, hundreds of miles from his Bronx roots. After that stalled out, he decided to head back to his home turf, 90 minutes away from the Bronx at UConn. Apparently, he was close to signing with Indiana before a visit to Storrs changed his mind. His 2025 season was nothing short of historic, 101 receptions. We went through the stats. All single-season program records. He ranks second nationally in receptions, receiving yards, receiving touchdowns, receptions per game, and yards per game. He led the entire country with 7 100-yard receiving games. His efforts earned him consensus All-American status, first in UConn football history. First team AP All-American, AFCA first team, the Sporting News first team honors. He was one of 3 Biletnikoff Award finalists along USC's Mekhi Lemon and Ohio State's Jeremiah Smith, with Lemon ultimately winning the award. Bell was invited to both the Panini Senior Bowl and the East-West Shrine Bowl, becoming just the second offensive skilled player in UConn history to earn a Senior Bowl invite, joining Dan Orlovsky. He was also among the 319 prospects selected for the 2026 NFL Scouting Combine. Apparently, after his 2024 season that went very well, he started getting some attention. He did initially enter the transfer portal, and I guess Michigan offered him $500,000 just to transfer. He ultimately decided to stay put and not chase all the money, which ended up working out fantastically for him. But it's one of those things that I think a lot of people will view as a high character play. A lot of the talk around the difference between the two teams, obviously Wisconsin, not a very good team, certainly not a good offense. But he was used as a boundary receiver in Wisconsin. He went to UConn, and they primarily moved him to the slot. And this was kind of seen as essentially Madison mismanaged him. Now, Wisconsin did move him to the slot in year 3, but that's still kind of the thought process is if you put him outside, he's not going to be successful. It's also worth noting that Chimere Dike was also there at Wisconsin and transferred out. So it seems as though they actually had a lot of wide receiver talent in Wisconsin and just completely botched the entire frickin' thing. What an absolute disaster. But another 3rd, 4th round guy, not a lot of injuries. Pro comp, Jaden Reed, no off-the-field flags. All right, last one before our break here. Cornerback Devin Moore out of Florida. He is on the consensus board at 88 overall. But he's a 4-star recruit out of Naples High School, rated number 251 overall, number 20 safety nationally. Originally committed to Notre Dame on July 4th prior to his senior year, choosing the Irish over offers from a bunch of other schools. Until Brian Kelly abruptly left for LSU in late November 2021, the coaching upheaval shook Moore's confidence in the program. He later told 24/7 Sports that the instability concerned him. He wasn't sure how to feel about it. Florida defensive coordinator Patrick Toney swooped in with a visit. Moore took an official visit to Gainesville shortly after. He flipped his commitment to the Gators on December 15th, 2021. His college career is a story of tantalizing physical tools buried under a mountain of injury frustration. Over 4 years at Florida, Moore appeared in 30 games with 17 starts, totaling 64 tackles, 5 picks, 14 pass breakups, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble. He was named the SEC Community Service Team in 2024. His numbers are modest because he simply could not stay on the field for 3 years. He played 5 games as a true freshman before shoulder surgery ended his 2022 season. And because he'd played 5 games, he burned his red shirt. In 2023, a back injury, a concussion, and recurring shoulder setbacks limited him to 7 appearances and 194 defensive snaps. In 2024, he started 6 of 7 games and flashed brilliantly, a career-high 7 tackles, 2 pass breakups, 52-yard interception against Kentucky, a pick of Carson Beck against Georgia before injuring his shoulder again during that Georgia interception return, ending his junior season. Everything changed in 2025. Moore overhauled his body maintenance program, working with Florida's medical and nutrition staff on blood tests to identify inflammatory foods and building a comprehensive injury prevention regimen. The result was his first full healthy season. 11 starts, 35 tackles, 2 picks, tied for the team lead, 4 pass breakups, 2 tackles for a loss, a sack, and forced fumble across 600-some-odd snaps. We'll get to his PFF grade here in a second. His signature 2025 performance came against Florida 29-21 upset over number 9 Texas, where he picked off Arch Manning in the fourth quarter. Shoulder thing is going to be a very serious problem. It was a pre-existing issue going all the way back through high school. Nagged him through 5 games as a freshman. Gave out October 22nd in practice. He left to break up a pass, entangled with a receiver, landed on his shoulder first, and felt a big pop, he said. He got shoulder surgery after that. He flared up again spring 2023, shutting him down. Then 2024 after brilliantly picked off Carson Beck. I believe he's had 3 shoulder surgeries, which is obviously going to be a very serious issue. He graduated the University of Florida's Warrington College of Business, and his academic resume is genuinely impressive. His high school coach said he carried a 4.8 GPA at Naples. At UF, he interned at Total Planning, a Gainesville wealth management firm funded by former Gators punter David Lerner's father, doing market research on investment trends and insurance while working directly with clients. Moore returned for his senior season, in part specifically to complete his degree, a decision driven by his parents' insistence that education comes first. He described it bluntly, "My parents always stressed to get your degree no matter what." Naples head coach Rick Martin shared an anecdote that he's that guy that when we get off the bus, he thanks the bus driver for driving them. He's the guy that when our administration needs to hand out laptops for COVID, he helps out without even being asked. Martin added, "I guarantee you, when he gets on campus, he's not just going to be a football player. He's going to be involved in other things, and he's going to make that campus a better place. I promise you that." So, there you have it. Via PFF, by the way, his grades 68, 78, 73, and 83. His first full season, again, being 2025. In that 2025 season, 83 grade, 82 run defense, 79 tackling, 72 pass rush, 82 coverage. So, solid across the board, but again, he's got 1 full season, a bunch of injury issues, a bunch of serious shoulder problems. So the medicals are going to be the biggest thing, and I mean he may be off some guys' boards. I don't know. That said, 6'3", 200 pounds, talented Florida guy. His coverage grades pretty much from the beginning: 65, 82, 71, 82. He's always been a good guy, a good corner. So I think it all comes down to medicals. All right, let's take a break. We have 4 more prospects to get through. We'll do that on the other side of the break. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. All right, next up we have Jacoby Lane, wide receiver out of USC. He is currently number 87 on the consensus board. He is a 4-star recruit out of Red Mountain High School in Mesa, Arizona. One of the most decorated pass catchers in school history. 2-sport athlete, played basketball at Red Mountain. He enrolled in 2023 and has been in the same program for his entire college career. He is your prototypical boundary X receiver. As a true freshman, Lane was limited to 6 games and 7 catches for 93 yards, but both of his touchdowns came in the Holiday Bowl against Louisville, an early glimpse of the postseason clutch gene. His sophomore year in 24 was a breakout, 43 receptions, 525 yards, and a team-leading 12 touchdowns across 13 games with 8 starts. That touchdown total ranked 5th nationally and 2nd in the Big Ten. He capped that season with a Las Vegas Bowl MVP performance, 7 catches, 127 yards, and a bowl record 3 touchdowns in a thrilling 35-31 comeback win over Texas A&M, earning AP All-Bowl team honors. Entering 2025 as a Biletnikoff Award candidate, Lane dealt with a broken foot suffered in May during off-season workouts, plus a mid-September injury that cost him the Michigan State game. Despite the setbacks, he played in 11 games, put up 49 receptions, 745 yards, 4 touchdowns, averaging 15.2 yards per catch. 2 of his touchdown grabs landed on SportsCenter's top 10. He declared for the 2026 NFL Draft, December 17, 2025, turns heads at the Senior Bowl in Mobile, establishing himself as one of the most impressive offensive prospects in attendance. He is a pretty big name. Before the 2025 season, ESPN's Jordan Reed ranked Lane as the number 1 wide receiver prospect in the entire 2026 class. Matt Miller didn't even have him in the top 5. Obviously, at this point, he's slipped quite a bit, but just to give you an idea of some of the range that he's had and some of the hype that he's had. In preparation for the NFL Draft, Lane has been training extensively in Southern California with former 11-year NFL veteran T.J. Houshmandzadeh. It's a barely interesting story, but I haven't been able to say T.J. Houshmandzadeh in a very long time, and I felt excited doing it. Lane's 2024 stat line is one of the more unusual you'll see. 12 receiving touchdowns on just 43 catches means he scored on 28% of his receptions. I think essentially what that means is that's something that's never going to be duplicated, and it's kind of fluky. USC obviously has a pretty solid pipeline for wide receivers, which is going to work to his benefit. Guys like Drake London, Jordan Addison, as well as soon-to-be Mekhi Lemon. Even got some pretty successful second-rounders, Robert Woods, Juju Smith-Schuster, Michael Pittman. So he is, if I didn't mention it, 6'4", 200, so he's another pretty big guy. As I said, he's a prototypical X receiver. He's a big catch point guy. In 2025, by the way, he had a 78 PFF grade, 82 receiving grade. He totaled 1,368 yards, 18 touchdowns, 13.8 yards per reception across his time at USC. He was a boundary guy 83% of the time. He had a 1.95 yards per route run. Drop percentage was 7.5%, which is, whatever. 50% contested catch rate, which is not exactly what you'd expect from a guy that's a big contested catch guy, but whatever. But big, tall, thin, go up and get it boundary guy. I think you're probably seeing a limited route tree and a question marks surrounding his separation ability. Seen as sort of a second to mid-second to mid-third kind of a guy. Combine's going to be a big deal. They're going to want to see his speed and whatnot, as well as the other combine drills that they're going to have. Best scheme fits. Teams that run back shoulder concepts, red zone fade packages, ISO route designed on the boundary. Quarterback who likes to throw 50-50 balls and trust his receiver to win on the rim. Spread offenses that can isolate Lane one-on-one against smaller corners would maximize his skill set. Injuries, that broken foot thing is going to be the one thing that's probably scrutinized a little bit. Pro comp, George Pickens. Like Pickens, Lane is long, lean, boundary X receiver, dominates the catch point through length, body control, and sheer competitive will rather than elite separation and speed. Both players are 6'4", both play with an edge that borders on volatile, and both are at their best when the quarterback throws it up and trusts them to go get it. On that volatile thing, as far as the red flags go, it's not super serious, but it's not nothing. Mostly clean from an off-field and character standpoint. No disciplinary incidents, arrests, or academic issues have been publicly reported. Teammates and coaches describe him as having an infectious personality, a unique competitive spirit, said Lincoln Riley. Someone who treats everyone in the building, players and staff alike, with respect. The one flag scouts will examine more closely is emotional maturity on the field. Lane plays with an edge that occasionally spills over. In USC's 2025 loss at Oregon, after Jaden Maeva threw an interception, Lane ran toward the Oregon sideline trying to retrieve the ball and drew an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. It was a flash of immaturity in a high-emotion moment. kind of thing that gets magnified in the NFL interview rooms. Multiple scouting reports have noted that maturity was a question for Lane throughout his time at USC, and that sometimes his emotions can get the best of him. Certainly heard worse, but something to keep an eye on. All right, next up, one spot higher on the consensus board at 86 is Dennis Sutton, edge rusher out of Penn State. Guy has got some pretty serious pedigree. I mean, he came out as a 5-star recruit, went straight to Penn State, started for most of his time there and graded out really well across the board. I mean, if you'd have told me just based on those facts that he's going to be like a first-round pick, I probably would have believed you. He's got the build for it, 6'5", 265. His overall grades in 4 years, 72, 78, 73, and 80. Run defense, 67, 72, 71, and 78. Pass rush grades, 84, 81, 75, and 80. His final year there, he had 51 pressures on 321 attempts and 8 sacks, which is, calculator please, 51 divided by 320, 16%. So pretty solid. He is from Millsboro, Delaware. Population of 4,500 people. Basketball was his first love. Football was something he did on the side. That all changed when his parents, mother Tish Dennis, a high school science and anatomy teacher, and father Dana, a bus driver for mentally and physically challenged adults, made the pivotal decision to send their son to McDonough School, a football powerhouse and prestigious prep school in Owings Mills, Maryland. At the time, he was basically a basketball player that had a couple years of football under his belt. COVID wiped out his junior season. Dislocated elbow cost him part of his senior year. Despite those setbacks, he put together quite a few stats, which was enough to generate recruiting avalanche. He was rated as a 5-star prospect. How does that even happen? The guy barely plays, goes to a prep school, barely plays there, has 40 tackles, 6 sacks, 2 forced fumbles on an 11-1 team, and gets a 5-star rating. Crazy. Carried a consensus top 50 status across all major recruiting services. Number 1 player in Maryland. Selected for an All-American Bowl, Polynesian Bowl. Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Notre Dame, and Oklahoma all came calling. He chose Penn State over the Crimson Tide and Bulldogs, partially because of the family atmosphere James Franklin built, and partially because the Dunna to Penn State pipeline that had already produced P.J. Mustipher, Curtis Jacobs, and Devon Ellis before him. Franklin later admitted Penn State nearly lost Dennis Sutton over the lack of single-room dorms, a facility shortfall the program has since addressed. Career arc reads like a textbook development story. Rotational freshman who earned ESPN True Freshman All-American honors in 2022. Again, he did almost nothing and still gets magical honors. 13 games, 17 tackles, 3.5 tackles for a loss, 3 sacks, and a pick. Expanding sophomore role in 2023. Third-team All-Big Ten. Full-time starter opposite Abdul Carter in 2024. Plays 16 games, 8.5 sacks, and a pick. Honorable mention All-Big Ten. The program pillar in 2025, 13 games, 8.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 3 blocked punts, unanimous third-team All-Big Ten, 3-time academic All-Big Ten. His 23.5 career sacks ranks 6th in Penn State history, passing Matt Millen and former teammate Abdul Carter. He was one of PFF's most valuable returning Power 4 edge defenders entering 2025, having generated 75 pressures over the 23-24 seasons, trailing only Clemson's TJ Parker in that span. He is a consensus day 2 pick in a loaded 2026 edge class. When Penn State's 2025 season cratered to 3-6, the Nittany Lions limped into the Pinstripe Bowl against Clemson. 16 players opted out. Dennis Sutton wasn't one of them. He told interim coach Terry Smith weeks before, quote, "If we get in the bowl game, I'm playing." He then dominated 2 sacks for 22 yards, which is a Penn State Bowl record, 4 total tackles, and constant pressure on Cade Klubnik. Quote, "I don't really comprehend not playing in the game," didn't really comprehend. He said afterward at Yankee Stadium, "It's an opportunity to go out there with my boys one last time, and it was a privilege." Unlike a lot of guys, by the way, we've talked about several other prospects, especially when we did edge and defensive tackle. They followed that similar pattern that a lot of Packers players did, where they got all their sacks and stuff at the beginning of the season. Sutton is kind of the opposite. He had 1 sack week 1 Didn't have a single other sack through the first 10 weeks. Then he had a sack in every single game of his final 5 games, 1 against Indiana, 2 against Michigan State, 1 against Nebraska, 1 against Rutgers, and 2 against Clemson. Very minimal injury history. Played in 55 of a possible 55 games across 4 seasons, never missing a contest. He did have a dislocated elbow in high school, as was mentioned. A couple different comps. The one that's most relevant to most of my audience, which is Packer fans, Preston Smith. Rivals drew this comparison during the Dennis Sutton recruiting cycle, projecting him as a similar style player to Smith as a big, powerful defensive end with plus athleticism. Smith came out of Mississippi State 6'5", 271 with power-first rushing style and solid run defense. He wasn't an elite athlete, but his motor physicality and scheme versatility allowed him to develop into a quality NFL starter who has produced double-digit sack seasons, like 12 sacks with the Packers in 2019. If Dennis Sutton can develop his pass rush craft the way Smith did under experienced NFL coaching, the long-term ceiling is a quality starter who contributes 6-8 sacks annually. That's the optimistic outcome, and it's achievable. No red flags. Next up, we have Malik Muhammad. Now, I did do Malik Muhammad, but I don't know if this was for a different thing or not. I don't believe he was in our cornerback discussion. So we'll do a little bit of a recap, I suppose. Listed at 6 foot, 188 pounds. Lot of people in his family, not necessarily massively well-known guys, but A.J. Green, not that A.J. Green, is a cousin of his, started 4 years Oklahoma State, bounced around the NFL since going undrafted 2020. He's been with the Browns, Vikings, Rams, currently with the Dolphins. Cousins with Jabbar Muhammad, E.J. Muhammad, and Kahari Muhammad, all football players. All played DB, actually, at the college level. 4-star recruit out of South Oak, California. He's listed as having elite short area quickness, route recognition, football IQ, willingness at least to play physical in the run defense game, even if he's not necessarily the most powerful guy at 188. 2-interception performance against number 6 Oklahoma, as well as a bunch of other situations like starting the Big 12 championship game as a true freshman against Oklahoma State and getting 4 solo tackles. He's known for having big game composure. On some of the negative sides, a little bit less ball production, not a lot of picks and pass breakups, not a big press coverage guy, not a real big frame on him. Listed as probably a 2nd to 3rd round pick. Not impossible he pops into the back of the 1st round. There's some talk about that because of the drought that Texas has seen in the 1st round for DBs. They haven't produced a 1st-round corner since Aaron Ross went number 20 overall in 2007. So there's some hope, at least among Longhorn fans, that he could get into the 1st round, but it's not necessarily looking like it right now. Pretty durable, not a lot of injury stuff. NFL comp to Nate Wiggins, Baltimore Ravens cornerback, and no real off-the-field issues. As for his PFF stuff, 3 years at Texas, his grades 79, 72, and 71. Coverage grades 80, 72, and 70. They're all good. They're also all declining for 3 straight years, which obviously isn't great, but the fact that he was probably, 19 years old, 20 years old in 2023 and played that well probably speaks to his capabilities, I would assume. Okay, final guy for today, Ted Hearst, wide receiver, Georgia State. Another tall, kind of lanky guy, 6'3", 195 pounds. He was a 0-star recruit out of Savannah, Georgia, went to Sol C. Johnson High School. The only reason Hearst ended up playing college football at all is because his brother started cold calling coaches on his behalf. What a cool thing that is. One of those calls reached someone at Valdosta State, a Division II program in the Gulf South Conference. The coaches liked the tape, liked the frame, and extended an offer. That was it. One offer from a D2 school generated by a family member's hustle rather than any scouting apparatus. 24/7 Sports retroactively lists Hearst with a composite rating of 83 and ranks him as the 1,624th overall prospect. At Valdosta State, he recorded 60 catches for 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns across 2 seasons, averaging a blistering 17.1 yards per reception and showcasing the deep ball ability that would become his calling card. He transferred to Georgia State ahead of the 2024 season and immediately became the Panthers' #1 receiver. His 2024 junior campaign produced 56 receptions, 961 yards, blah, blah, blah. School record 9 touchdowns, earning him second-team All-Sun Belt honors and College Football Network first-team All-Sun Belt recognition. As a senior in 2025, Hearst cracked the 1,000-yard barrier for the first time with 71 receptions for 1,004 yards and 6 touchdowns, earning first-team All-Sun Belt honors, a spot on the Biletnikoff Award preseason watch list, and selection to Bruce Feldman's College Freak list at The Athletic. He was the first Georgia State player ever named to that list. He finished Georgia State career ranked 4th in program history in receiving yards, yards per reception, touchdowns, and 100-yard games, and 5th in receptions. Nationally in 2025, Hearst ranked 12th in total receiving yards, 16th in receiving yards per game, 15th in receptions per game. He was invited to the Panini Senior Bowl, where he is arguably the most talked about receiver of the entire week. Obviously, we've said that about quite a few people, but he was praised at the Senior Bowl, let's say. 2024, he had his breakout. He had an opportunity to transfer away. He did enter the transfer portal, immediately ranked as one of the top available players nationally. Multiple SEC, ACC, and Big Ten programs expressed serious interest, and the NIL bidding war was fierce. Texas A&M reportedly planned to go all in on him. By every conventional measure, Hearst should have left for a Power 4 program to boost his draft stock. Instead, he returned to Georgia State. His announcement on December 9, 2024 read, "I am excited to announce that I will be returning to play for Georgia State under the guidance of Coach Del McGee. I'm home. Let's run it back." At the Senior Bowl, he explained his decision. "Being surrounded by great people who have the best interest in me, them telling me what I need to hear more so than what ifs and what ands, and maybe this might happen if you leave. You already made a name for yourself at Georgia State, so why not be a shark in a pond?" Number 83 on Feldman's Freak list. The list highlights his combination of 4.51 second 40-yard dash. That's not very fast. And 10-foot 8-inch broad jump and a 6.933 cone drill, all packaged in a 6'3" frame. Head coach Del McGee called him explosive, dependable, and puts on work every day. He's the type of athlete that represents the next level of Georgia State football. At the Senior Bowl, multiple people said he had the catch of the day, a one-handed grab in the end zone during one-on-one drills that went viral on social media. He beat Arkansas cornerback Julian Neal, a Power 4 DB that we just talked about, down the sideline on a go route and came down and contested one-handed snag and drew gasps from NFL scouts. He was consistently dominant throughout the week, winning with physicality, strong hands, and route running nuance that Georgia State offenses didn't fully showcase. Multiple analysts upgraded their projections to top 100 territory, with at least one evaluator calling him a top 50 prospect. The Senior Bowl was a validation moment for Hearst, proof that his production wasn't just a product of Sun Belt comparisons, or competition for that matter. In that final year, by the way, I don't know if we've gone over his stats, but 71 receptions, 1,000 yards, 14.1 yards per reception, 6 touchdowns, 82 grade, 82 receiving grade. He has a 2.18 yard per route run. Drop rate is 9.7%. Contested catch rate 61%. Most analysts view him as a third-round prospect, which, being at 78 overall, kind of fits the bill. Largely durable as far as his injury stuff is concerned. Only known injury came during the 2025 season. He suffered an undisclosed injury in practice ahead of Week 13 against Troy. Pro comp Josh Palmer for the Buffalo Bills. Productive but not dominant in college, possessed good size, contested catch ability, projected as a developmental outside receiver with red zone value. Useful but not game-changing production. Apparently the comp he gives himself is T. Higgins, which is nice, but we'll go with Josh Palmer. As for red flags, he doesn't have any. He has earned Dean's List honors in fall 25. Spring 25 was named the Sun Belt Conference All-Academic Honor Roll for 2024-2025. So nothing to worry about there. All right. That's it. We've got another, I believe, 10 tomorrow that we will do. And then we've completed the top 100 prospects in the 2026 NFL Draft. I will talk to you later. Again, be sure to check out 7 o'clock Central. It's 6:15 now, so I got to get rocking. 7 o'clock Central, we'll plan on our group mock drafts. Be sure to follow me on social media, either the Facebook group or follow me on Twitter, Pack_Daddy. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.